of their neck. Put no coffin out of your mouth. I'm way too paranoid for a threat. Hey, let's get it, bro. EOT, the money, power, respect. The last one is better. Say this a lot of goofies for the check. I mean, I hope them sentiments symbolic. My temperament bipolar, 2 violence. Hey, let's get it up. It's time for him to prove that he's a problem. Niggas clicking up, but they not be like getting up 40 water. Tell them, yeah, get up with me. Fuck sneak this, first person shooter. I hope they keep
7 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel and welcome to another video. Welcome to CrimeTube. Today in our episode, we are starting a series and we're going to be talking about the Leicester Street Massacres. This is an event that happened back March 2nd, 2008. It was a mass murder that took place in a neighborhood in Memphis, Tennessee. 6 people, which was adults and 2 children, 4 adults and 2 children, were unalived. Let me pull up on the screen what I am currently reading to show you guys. This event actually does have its own Wikipedia page. It was a horrific incident. It was the worst, still the worst massacre in the history of Memphis, Tennessee. Let's see, I was right here. The predator, 33-year-old Jesse Dobson, who was related to some of the victims, was arrested a few days after the incident. Now, this first appeared on First 48. That's where I first saw it at. And in today's episode, I'm simply going to play you this video. We're going to get a brief synopsis of what happened. And then from there, we're going to go into a video called Leicester Street Murders. Was Jesse, hold on. This is it. Was Jesse framed or is he guilty? Now, we're going to look at this. We're going to look at the initial incident, about what happened, and then we're going to go into this person basically asking the question. In the second episode, which will be next week, next Thursday, we will look at more information about the incident. Also, we're going to look at some news articles about the incident. The following week, we're going to kind of go into the after effects and play more of the first 48 episode if possible. And then the final week, we're going to watch an interview of one of the victims. So I hope that you will enjoy this depiction, and I hope that you guys stay along to the end as we dive into what happened. Let's jump into this first video. We're going to jump into the first video real quick.
2008, a crime so brutal it shocked Memphis and the entire nation. This is the story of the Leicester Street Massacre. Jesse Dobson had just been released from prison. He was visiting his brother, Cecil Dobson, at his home on Leicester Street.
Cecil.
The two got into a heated argument, and Jesse snapped. He shot and killed Cecil, then decided no one else in the house could live. Jesse turned his rage on 5 other people. He murdered Marissa Williams, 26, Hollis Seals, 33, Shindri Robertson, 20, and 2 of Cecil's sons, Cecil II, just 4 years old, and Cedric, only 2. He used guns, knives, even wood planks, and he didn't stop there. 3 children survived barely. CJ, age 9, Senia, just 5, and Cedric, only 2 years old. They had been stabbed, beaten, and left for dead, but miraculously they lived. It was 9-year-old CJ who told police what happened. Jesse Dobson was arrested within 2 days. In 2010, he was convicted on 6 counts of first-degree murder.
Yeah, look at him sitting there smiling. Like, how could you smile with a situation like this?
And sentenced to 6 death sentences, 1 for each life he took. The Leicester Street Massacre remains one of the worst crimes in Memphis history. 6 lives stolen, including 2 babies. But 3 children survived and told the world what happened. Let us never forget them. March 2nd, 2008. A crime so brutal, it shocked Memphis and the entire nation.
Okay, so that explains basically what happened. So next we're going to go into another video talking about the situation. And it'll give us a little bit more behind the scenes. Now, the question on this is, was he framed or is he guilty? And let me tell you why they asked that. Several years after the event took place, Dobson requested a new trial because he said he was framed. I'm not sure what gave enough ammunition to get the situation in court, but it did make it to court. As a matter of fact, I want to say it was in the last year or so. It took a lot of time for it to finally make it back to court, but we're going to look at that down the road in the situation. This massacre was featured on for First 48. So if you ever want to see more information about it, it was there. Let me see if I can give you the episode information. It was season 2, episode 12. That it was on there, but it was on First 48. Now, I don't have First 48 in its entirety anywhere that I could show it to you because it was a very good it was very good. It was a very good episode just because of how everything went. They really busted their behinds trying to solve that case, and then it ended up ending the way no one thought that it would. Anyway, so let's jump over into the next video.
The wind whipping through Leicester Street whipped through the unthinkable. 2 men, 2 women, and 2 young boys, all killed in one house. 3 other children seriously hurt. No sign of a break-in, and police are begging for help from the public.
I'm lost.
That's your sister.
And my grandbabies, they all gone.
Sorry, mother.
It. And I don't know why.
A lot of people feel that you're a monster.
Well, that's their opinion. People have their opinions. You can't stop people from having their opinions. I think people are monsters too. So hey, it's vice versa.
Now, this is the guy, Jesse Dobson. He's the one who actually committed the crime. And this is him saying that he feel like other people are monsters. He killed his brother, 2 of his nephews, his brother's girlfriend, their friend who just happened to be over visiting his girlfriend, and he attacked 3 other victims who were minors. These last 3 did survive, and unfortunately, one of them had to tell what happened.
I I know I'm not a monster.
You know, family's supposed to be everything to us. Of course, we argue, fight, and go through things, but at the end of the day, we already know that we can count on them if we need to. You feel?
Okay, this video is from the Mysterious Black Bandit. It is a YouTube channel, and he goes into different true crime stories, talking about things that happen in the story. So this video was actually uploaded 8 months ago, and so shout out to him. We are using a portion of it for our broadcast.
Safe and secure around them, and if something does go down, they'll be the first to have your back. At least that's the kind of background I came from, but I've learned that that ain't the case with everyone. Could you imagine being around someone you trust, like a family member, and out of nowhere, they turned on you with no warning or buildup? One moment you're laughing and having a good time, and the next, the person is trying to take your life. This story isn't just about murder, it's about betrayal. Yep. This family had no idea that someone they loved would destroy everything in a single night. Good day, my...
The two people that they just showed was victims. Now, Cecil, his girlfriend was also the mother of, I think, most of the children, at least 4 of them I know. And one of the children that survived was her child for sure.
True.
Let me go ahead and say this as well. Just to give you an idea, Cecil, I'm sorry, the little boy who survived, CJ, actually saw when Cecil was unaliving his mother and heard her pleading for her life.
True Crimes family, I am the Mysterious Black Bandit, and welcome back to one of the best true crime channels here on YouTube. If you are new to my channel and you enjoy content like this, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and tell everybody about this channel. Now, once you've done that, let's get into this horrible video. Today, we'll be talking about the Lester Street murder straight out of Memphis, Tennessee. But first, to understand the tragedy, let's talk about the people involved. In early 2000, 30-year-old Cecil Dobson Sr. lived on Lester Street with his fiancée, 27-year-old Marissa Williams, and their 5 children that ranged in age from 2 months to 9 years. Cecil worked as a maintenance man, putting in these long hours to support his large family and also to keep himself out of trouble. Just like most children that grew up in poverty, Cecil came up in the streets and was affiliated with the Gangster Disciples, but having kids and a fiancé, he was trying to turn his life around. Now, Cecil had an older brother named Jesse Dobson, and he was a problem from the start. Back when Jesse was 15, he had gotten an assault charge for punching a 13-year-old in the face and threatening to put him in the hospital if the kid didn't bring him $25 the next day. And get this, not even a month later, he got into trouble again. This time, he was charged with disorderly conduct for threatening his own mother when she tried to discipline him. Now, Jesse was also in the gang life, but it wasn't with the Gangster Disciples like his brother Cecil. I'm not sure if they were brought up in the same household or was from different neighborhoods, but he was considered a Crip. Now, throughout Jesse's whole life, he was in and out of prison for petty crimes, but fast forward to 1994, at 23 years old, doing a drug deal that went wrong, Jesse fatally shot a guy and robbed him for $20. This resulted in him going to prison for second-degree murder, serving 14 years before being released in August of 2007. After his release, Jesse moved in with his sister Nicole, and having a felony on his background, you already know it was hard for him to find a job anywhere. But his father was a painter, so he allowed Jesse to come and work for him just so he could put some money in his pocket and also to keep him out of trouble. Now, despite Jesse's shared history with his siblings, there was a lot of tension between them, especially with his younger brother Cecil. Jesse believed Cecil had snitched on him, which led him to being sent to prison in the first place. Then on top of that, he felt like his family had turned their backs on him and didn't do enough for him while he was in prison. Maybe they didn't visit or send him money like he thought they should have.
Now, it's crazy that situations like this happen often. And what I mean by that is people get themselves in trouble, they get themselves in a position to where they can't take care of themselves and then have the gall to want you to take care of them. Why do they owe you to worry about you in jail when you could have been free and didn't have to have that charge and you wouldn't have needed nobody to take care of you? But everybody is supposed to rally up their money and send it to you because you broke the law. Craziness. Absolute craziness.
A lot of people who do time start to feel like their family has forgotten about them. And look, I get it. I understand wanting support, but sometimes people on the inside forget that life on the outside keeps moving. We have bills, jobs, kids, and responsibilities. Helping someone every now and then is one thing, but expecting constant support is not always realistic. Anyway, that resentment Jesse carried started to build, and it didn't go away when he got out. But even with that tension, his family, including Cecil, still opened their doors for him, letting him stay with them while he tried to get back on his feet. Now, though Jesse was now a free man, I'm not sure if he still was institutionalized or he just had to keep up this reputation, but his behavior didn't change. He was always missing work with his father, constantly getting into altercations with his girlfriend, Sheila Jones, and surrounding himself with people who were still in the streets.
Now, the thing that's crazy to me is the fact that he had a girlfriend. This man committed the ultimate act, or the ultimate crime, and a violent crime. And it's people on the street that's decent and single, but yet he had a girlfriend. Diabolical.
Okay, let's fast forward to Saturday, March 1st, 2008. Jesse Sr., their half-brother, William Waddle, and Jesse went over to Cecil's house to watch a University of Memphis basketball game. Something was going on with his TV, and he wasn't able to pick up the game, so their father left, but Jesse and Fat stuck around to drink and eat some of the food that Cecil had put on the grill. Come 10:30, 11 p.m., Fat grabs his things, leaving Jesse, Cecil, and his family behind, and this would be the last time Cecil would be seen alive. By Monday, March 3rd, 2008, the family started to freak out because nobody had heard from Cecil, Marissa, or the kids since Saturday, March 1st. Cecil's mother, Priscilla Shaw, became increasingly worried because she was used to talking to her grandbabies every day. So after not hearing from them for 2 days.
Now, y'all heard what was said. No one has spoken to them since March the 1st, and it was now March the 3rd. Now, I told you that there were 4 people unalived, 6, 4 adults and 2 children. The other 3 were injured and still there for 2 days.
She alerted the police and asked them to do a wellness check. When the police showed up around 6:30 p.m., they found the front door wide open, and what they walked into was pure chaos. 6 people had been killed. Cecil and his fiancée, Marissa.
Now, I'm shocked that the door was wide open. They did not share that piece of detail in the first 48 case.
Both had been fatally shot multiple times. Holly Seal and Sindri Robertson, their 2 close friends, were shot execution style. Then Samario and Cecil Dobson Jr. had both been fatally stabbed. At first, officers thought that everyone inside had been murdered.
Now, this is some of the officers that was on the first 48 case. So you're going to see them because, as you know, these shows are shot as investigations happen.
It was so brutal and overwhelming, it seemed impossible for anyone to survive this, but as they walked further into the house, checking each room, they started to hear the faintest sounds coming out of the bathroom. Now, I can't say the ages of who they found because YouTube will give me a strike, but I think you'll know what I'm talking about.
They are minor children. Yeah.
As one of the officers stepped further inside, CJ was lying in the bathtub with a knife protruding out of his head, barely breathing, trying to get the officer's attention. Then as they kept moving through the house, two more people, Cedric and Sanaya Dobson, were spotted, stabbed and beaten to death. The three survivors had been left in the house for nearly 40 hours, clinging for their life. Now, after they were rushed to the hospital, the cops taped off the house and started their investigation. At first, investigators had no idea who could have done something so horrific. The crime scene was so bad, it looked like a war zone, but with so many victims, they started to consider the possibility that this was the work of a gang. You have to remember, this was in 2008 in Memphis. Gang violence wasn't uncommon, and the brutality of the murder made investigators think that this might have been some kind of retaliation or a message. Then on top of that, one of the victims, Hollis Seals, was known to have ties to criminal activities. As investigators examined the house.
Now, I'm going to say this as well. It is stated that the victim whose house it was may have been involved in drug activity too. I don't know for sure, but I think he sold marijuana.
More closely, they noticed that there wasn't any sign of forced entry, and it was set up to look like a drug deal gone wrong. Drugs and shell cases were tossed around the house like props. Whoever did this didn't have to fight their way in the house, and the killer had to be someone the family trusted. Now, since they believed that this was gang-related, all of Cecil's family members were placed in protective custody just to be on the safe side.
Now, a part of the first 48 case showed that they, in the midst of their investigation, because of how many people were injured and the fact that they were all related to Cecil, they thought it was something called a blackout, which is known to a local gang in that area. That maybe he had a confrontation of some type with one of the gang members. And because of that, this was ordered on him because he was considered kind of higher up in this gang that he was affiliated with. Now, I don't know that he had close ties at the time, but whatever the case is, a lot of times when it comes to gang activity, you in there. Like, that's just that on that. And so that's what they were thinking. So with a blackout, basically they tried to get rid of the entire bloodline. So with this being the case, this is why they ordered to put the family in protective custody.
On March 4th, 2008, Jesse was brought in for questioning, not as a suspect, but as a possible witness. They just wanted to know what he had been up to on that weekend since he was at Cecil's place the night that everything went down. Jesse told them he hung out there with his father and half-brother. Then he left and spent time with his girlfriend, Sheila Jones.
Let me ask you this.
Stark asks Jesse when he last saw his brother Cecil.
Sunday. Okay.
Sunday, it's late Saturday, early Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We want to find out who did it.
Max asks Jesse who would have wanted Cecil dead.
Anybody?
He told me about the incident with him and Doc,
Jesse claims that Cecil was in a gang called Gangster Disciples, and that Cecil had been feuding with an alleged fellow gang member, nicknamed Doc Holliday.
Did you and Cecil, your brother, did y'all do anything to Doc? Did y'all go over there to do anything to Doc at all?
Doc could tell you he never met me like that. When I met Doc,
Jesse claims that he's never had a problem with Doc Holliday.
What happened between him and Doc?
Russ was supposed to disrespect Doc.
According to Jesse, his brother Cecil and Doc Holliday were both called to a meeting by the Gangster Disciples.
Well, he was supposed to be at this meeting. They ain't gone.
Yeah. He wrote him up.
What happens with those meetings if they get written up?
They have to go to trial.
What happens after that?
If they get found guilty, I guess they get their punishment.
What's usually punishment? I ain't liking me because I haven't got a clue.
I'm saying I'm not a G though.
By March 5th, the police were talking to more family members and were still considering the fact that this could be gang-related. Now, Jesse's sister Nicole got a phone call from their cousin Erica about something being wrong at CJ's house that same night. Then Jesse's father had already noticed he wasn't at Nicole's place Sunday morning when he tried to go pick him up for work. This made them wonder what Jesse was actually up to. By March 7th, everything flipped. CJ, the one that was found in the bathroom with the knife in his hand, had waken up from his head injuries. When the investigators asked if he had any idea who did this to him, he didn't hesitate.
You have anything to worry about. So you said you're going to stand to the test? And who did? And who was with him?
He said, Mom.
Now, I just want to make note of the fact that this is the second time that they spoke with the kids. The first time that they attempted to speak with him, he was so distraught after what happened, he was unable to speak. So this was a second attempt for them to go to the hospital and try to talk to them. And so they were successfully able to speak with him this time. And this is the video that resulted from that, or should I say the audio.
Uncle Junior did it. He was the one that attacked us. He tells the police that he saw his uncle shoot his dad in the face while he was begging for his life,
and he said Junior, but that's the name they called Jesse.
And he saw him go after everyone else. And just like that, the entire case took a turn. Up until that point, Jesse had been playing this concerned brother, acting like he was just as shocked as everyone else. But now, the fingers were pointed directly at him by someone he thought he killed. The investigators didn't waste any time. The same day, they tracked down Jesse, brought him back into the station, and things got pretty intense.
Tell me about your day Saturday, from the time you woke up.
Back to work from 8 to 3.
Okay. When you got off, who picked you up?
Cecil.
Okay. So they came to pick you up, then y'all went back up on left?
Yes, ma'am. We sit at the kitchen table. Russell started making chicken.
Just sitting around the house kicking?
Yes, ma'am.
Then what y'all do?
We got to eat, dropped me out.
Okay. What means the most to you in the world?
My family.
Not even 30 minutes into the interrogation, they played CJ's recorded statement over and over, letting him hear his voice accusing him of this crime.
What they call you?
Junior.
Junior. Everybody in your family call you Junior.
We get
Everybody in your family call you Junior. What they say?
June.
June. What did you just tell me your family say?
We know me by June.
By June. What did that little boy just get through saying?
June.
June. That's what that little boy just got through saying. June. That's what the he said. He didn't mix it up. But you up and you left somebody alive and they out. You left somebody alive that can identify your ass.
Now, Jesse stuck to his story at first, saying he was at his girlfriend's house all weekend and there was no way that he could have committed this crime. But after being in that room for several hours with no breaks, he finally cracked.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
We was out right. When you get to argue, we argued our way to the house. And got in the house. He was still shooting up. He was handicapped. We got into it again. I just started shooting.
How many times did you shoot? What about the women? What you do now?
I didn't do anything.
Didn't you shoot the women?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Jeez, so.
Now, here's the twist. Jesse almost immediately took everything back. He said that the confession was forced and they fed him details. And on top of that, they threatened to arrest his mom and his sister and even told him his life would be on the line if he didn't start talking. Now, there was no physical evidence, no fingerprints or weapon that could tie him to this murder. But just off his nephew CJ's words and his confession, which were both kind of shaky, the police arrested him that night, charging him with 6 counts of first-degree murder and 3 counts of attempted murder. So after they slapped these charges on him, the investigators started scrambling to try to make sure that this case would stick. The first thing that they did was track down his girlfriend, Sheila, to see if his alibi was legit, but her story didn't cover everything. She could only vouch for him for some of that time, but late Saturday into early Sunday, the window when the killing happened, she couldn't say for sure where he was. They also pulled his half-brother back in to see if he knew anything else. He told them that on Saturday, March 2nd, he met with Jesse for dinner at TGI Fridays and stated that he was really quiet and acting strange, like he was or holding something heavy on his heart. He also told him Jesse asked him if he had talked to Cecil because he wasn't picking up the phone for him. Now, even though all this was hearsay, this was going to help keep Jesse behind bars. On September 27, 2010, Jesse Dobson's trial finally started and he pleaded not guilty to all charges. The prosecution claimed that Jesse was a cold-blooded killer who shot his own brother Cecil in the head after a drunken argument, then took out the others just to cover everything up.
Now, this is my thing. How you gonna say after you sat there and told him you did it, that you didn't do it? Like, you gave them information about it. You told them how it happened. You told them the sequence of things happening, the whole 9 yards. Also, I wanted to speak on the fact that it's crazy that there was no evidence. With all that was going on, it seemed like, well, they didn't probably have time to test for GSR, but it just seemed like there would have been something at least showing that he had been in the house, especially the bathroom with his contact with his nephew. And how on earth was he able to look that baby in the face and do that to him? Like, I just don't get it. That is absolutely crazy.
The star witness, CJ, who was 11, took the stand and told them everything. He said on that horrific night, he walked into the hallway and saw his Uncle Jesse shoot his father right in the face as he begged for his life. Then he said Jesse turned and came after him with the kitchen knife, stabbing him over and over. Next thing he knows, he's lying in the bathtub with the blade stuck deep into his skull. Another survivor, little Cedric, backed it up saying Jesse stabbed him too, right in the nose and forehead, and stated nobody else was there doing it. These witnesses, still with the scars from that night, pointed directly at Jesse with no hesitation, stating he was the guy that shot their parents and stabbed his brothers. Now,
I wasn't aware that the second brother actually testified, but I mean, that's just even more confirmation of who it was.
Now, the next person that took the stand was Jesse's mother. She stepped up and broke down into tears while telling the jury what Jesse told her after they locked him up.
First went in, he was sitting at the table, and I got his hands. When I was asking him what's going on, I asked him, were they trying to put it on him? What's going on? And he didn't say anything. He just held his head down for a while. And when he did look up, he told me he did it. Then I asked him, what did he say? He said, I did it, Mama. And then I asked him, he said, they saw me.
Now, Jesse's defense team knew that they were up against the wall, especially with his confessions and CJ's testimony. So their goal was to flip the whole story and place it on gang retaliation and not him. They argue Cecil had stole drugs or goods from the GDs, so for payback, they ordered what they called a total blackout, which is a killing of everyone in the house. And apparently after the killing is done, they pulled down the victim's pants as a sign of disrespect. They went on to say that the crime committed was way too big for just one guy, especially someone like Jesse, who they claim had mental limitations that made it unlikely he could have done all this by himself.
Now, I agree that number one, he was small. His brother was kind of stocky. Now, I didn't know he had mental limitations, because if so, that should have played a part in the other things that went on. Not to mention his mama. Well, back then they didn't really do therapy or get kids help that were problem kids. But it's just kind of unfortunate if that's the case. However, he had a lot stacked against him. And again, this is a situation that if he had mental limitations, it should have played a role in what went on with him, because he got the 5 death sentences, but he kind of went into it with the unfair disadvantage because he was special, basically special needs, for lack of a better way to look at it. Also, when it comes to people like that, they need to try to find ways to help them instead of automatically judicating them and throwing a book at them. Now, am I saying that he should not have received the punishment he did for what he did? No. What I'm saying is that if he had some kind of intervention prior to getting this far in life, he may have, the situation may have come out different. But I mean, once it's done, it's done.
Now, they also tried to challenge both confessions, saying the police manipulated Jesse during questioning, and they also tried to cast doubt on CJ's memory, pointing out that he was way too young at the time, heavily sedated, and suffered from a severe head trauma caused by the attack. By October 9th, Jesse had finally taken a stand and changed the complete story. He told the jury that when the gunman burst into the house, he immediately hid under the bed while all the shooting and stabbing was going on. He claimed he stayed quiet until all the commotion was over. Then he got up, ran outside, and rode off on a kid's bike. When they asked why he didn't call the police or the ambulance, he says, "I was too afraid to snitch." Now, this trial had been going on for a good 16 days straight. The courtroom stayed packed, and of course, tension was high. Jesse and his team could even be seen laughing and talking as if they knew they had won this case. But after all the different arguments and testimonies, the jury came back in less than 2 hours with the verdict. For the Leicester Street Massacre, Jesse Dobson was found guilty on all counts. 6 first-degree murder charges and 3 attempted murder charges. On October 12, 2010, he was handed 6 death sentences, 1 for each life, stacked with 120 years. Apparently, Jesse didn't care nothing about it because as the judge was wrapping things up, he starts clapping real slow and sarcastic like he was mocking the whole case. For his actions, the judge set the execution by lethal injection for March 12th, but due to his lawyer's appeal, Jesse wasn't executed that day. Here we are in 2025, and Jesse is still fighting. In January of 2024, he files a 249-page petition in the federal court begging to throw out his convictions.
And this is what I was referring to when I said he came back and talked and said that he was wrongfully accused. This was here recent, and as he said, 2025. He said basically that everybody got it wrong.
Claims that the cops violated his rights, and he was still claiming the confession was fake. Now, his lawyers are still pushing the same narrative. They're saying the real killers were members of the Gangster Disciples out of revenge for something Cecil had done. Even after all these years, Jesse remains on death row in the Riverbend Maximum Security Institution in Nashville, Tennessee, and he continues to deny any involvement in these murders.
Has she said she forgives you, or has she...
Forgive me for what?
Have you guys had any conversation about it?
What is she forgiving me for? You know, you have to been done something to be forgiven, right?
Now, survivors and victims' families fiercely oppose this. CJ, now in his 20s, has publicly denounced Jesse's claims and told the news that he looked into his uncle's eyes during the attack and saw pure evil.
I walked in there, I seen him holding a gun, a revolver, I know what it was, and he was shooting my dad in the face.
Jesse Dotson's nephew, CJ Dotson, was there. He was only years old at the time.
I was his first child victim he started on. Before he went to my brothers and them, he started on me first. So when I looked him in his face, you know, I told him I loved him. He had his pocket knife like this in his hand.
How could he do that? This boy, that's all he knew to do. He a child. Is to tell him he loved him, and he still was able to look that boy in his face and do that shit to his face now.
And it was looking at me with, you know, a little tear in his eye, but he had the little evil look on, like, and he sliced me across the throat.
Over the years, CJ has spoken out on multiple platforms, bravely recounting the terrifying night and making sure people don't forget the truth.
My mama and my sister was the last two he got to. So he really wasn't good. So in my head, I'm thinking he not gonna kill my mama. You know what I'm saying? He gonna let her go type shit. Yeah. Cause this shit, I'm thinking in my head, this shit not real, bro. I'm just seeing shit, you know what I'm saying? I'm finna wake up, everything finna be straight, you know what I'm saying? But as I dozed off, you know what I'm saying? I'm dozing off, but I'm fighting, you see what I'm saying, for my life type shit. So I'm in there fighting, you know what I'm saying? I'm watching her. He like, where his keys at? Where my brother keys at type shit. And I'm like, she don't know. Check him, check his pockets or something, or in the room. Then he was like, where his phone? She was like, she don't know what this is. So he was like, he don't want to kill her, cause he was saying this shit. That's why I said what I said. Cause he said he didn't want to kill her. I watched her get dropped. Like he shot in the back of the head. It was just me, my sister, and my little brother.
Could y'all imagine being in that house and seeing what those kids saw? CJ watching his uncle blast his father in the face, then coming at him with a knife, and on top of that, waiting almost 2 days, not eating or anything in that tub, just hoping and praying someone comes and finds him. It had to be a freaking nightmare. All right, family, it's time for you to tell me what you think down in the comments. You know, I read that this case still has a lot of people arguing over whether he actually did it or not. They're saying stuff.
I don't see with what has been said and who testified and him admitting it, how they could question the legitimacy of the claims. But at any rate, guys, this is my first presentation. Tell me what you think. Do you think that it's any possibility that he could have been wrongfully accused? I personally do not. And he is a monster because he was able to look a young child. I think he was between 6 and 10. I'm just gonna say. He was able to look him in the face and still go through with causing him grave harm. That's awful. Tell me what y'all think. Tell me what you think. And we will continue the conversation in the comments until our next episode. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. And again, I will see you on the next one.